Hi, it's Jason from Jcknifeworks. This is part 3 of our KMG grinder build video. As you can see, it looks pretty much done now. Took the motor off last night and prepped it and painted it. Put a proper extension cord on. Got some wire coverings for the control wires. When I had the motor off, I took the holes down here. They were 1/4 inch and they were just through holes, and I had a nut and a bolt and a couple washers on there, and that was really difficult to tension the motor for the pulley setup with just one person like that. So when I had the motor off, I took and ran through the hole with a letter L drill bit and tapped it with a 5/16 18 thread tap, and then I went and got some 1-inch 5/16 18 bolts with the hex head. So when I put it back on, I'm able to just as one person take and loosen these up individually, tension the motor the way it needs to be for the belt, and tighten it back with just 2 hands instead of 4. So anybody setting one of these up for themselves, that may come in handy for you. That was probably the most difficult thing in all of this build, was just setting up the motor properly. I've seen it done a lot of different ways. Some guys get really creative. We tried to go as simple as possible, and that was the only thing at all that gave us any kind of a problem, and it really wasn't that big of a deal. One other thing, I was going to paint this whole grinder rig when I got it, but they did such a nice job and used such nice new clean metal that I just like the look of this, so I'm going to stay with the natural metal finish. What I did do is spray some of this Rust-Oleum clear enamel over it, just to help it keep from rusting, because a lot of times when we're grinding, we're dipping the blade in the water bucket and water does get all over these things. So if you spray it down with a good coat or two of that enamel, it'll help the steel parts on here keep from rusting wherever the water sits for any length of time. So let's go ahead and fire it up. That is actually on the slow speed right now. That's the speed you might use if you were just starting a grind, or if you were using a small wheel attachment. One thing I notice about this machine that's really nice right off the bat is, look at the tracking on it. There's no belt wobble. There's none. Really nice and straight. The platen is set back in just a little bit. You can see light coming through the platen. So I'm going to bump the